What's going on, YouTube? You're back with Shades. We're continuing our Let's Play of Katawa Shoujo. It's a... Oops, I went backwards. Whoa, oh no! Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm sorry I was gone for a good amount of last week. I realized that, on the day this is being uploaded, I will be in Canada with my family for the next 2-3 days. So, I'll not be able to upload. So I had to pre-record for this entire week so that I can rest. So, thank you for being patient with me. I know my uploads have been sporadic lately. It's just hard finding prime time to record because I don't want my family hearing me whilst I record. I don't want to be interrupted by them, and I don't want to inconvenience them. And I've noticed in my recent uploads that my game audio is really freaking high, so I have to lower that just a little bit. Is that better? Hopefully that's better. I will have to lower it in editing if it's too loud. So yeah. Thank you for dealing with my sporadic uploads, and I hope you are enjoying. Whoever's watching this is enjoying Katawa Shoujo again. So anyway, let's go on. So last time we left off, we went with Lily and Hanako to go eat lunch, which is kind of rude because I was talking to oh my god, what are their names? Jesus, I forgot their names. Okay, too many characters. Anyway, let's keep going. Before I can even open my small bag of food, Lily's busying herself with her thermos and tea bags as Hanako is setting out both their lunch boxes. So this is what you meant by coming here almost every day. Yes, Hanako and I usually have lunch here. It suits both of us, so we ended up using this room regularly. After seeing Hanako's reactions to me over the past couple of days, I can understand why this is a boon, and Lily being able to get some quiet away from her class as well. I take my seat last after Lily's poured the tea for us and sits down. Oh look, my position's exactly the same as last time, only there's a Hanako there. The more time I spend with these two girls, the more I think they're a perfect foil to Misha and Shizune. Even without a voice, Shizune is direct and brash, and Misha seems to get along with everyone. On the other hand, Lily is soft-spoken and relaxed, while Hanako seems to be the shyest girl I've ever met. So, how are you faring in Yamaku, Hisao? You seemed a bit flustered before. Apart from being lost every now and again and being crash-tackled outside my classroom, fine, I guess. You looked pretty hurt before. Are you really okay? Oh, I forgot to give her the tiny voice. For a brief moment, I considered telling Hanako and Lily about my condition, but then I held it back. I can't tell why, but for some reason I feel uncomfortable talking about it to these relative strangers, but even if they have been pretty friendly. Yeah, it's nothing. I was just a bit startled. Judging from the two girls' expressions, I don't think they're buying it. But in what I assume is their way of respecting my privacy, they don't press the matter. I guess that is one of the unwritten rules here. Don't ask. Even if people's conditions are obvious, like Hanako's, there's still bound to be a story involved. Everyone has these things they don't feel comfortable speaking about, and I think everyone here recognizes that. Yeah, I feel that's true, because especially with these people who each one of them seems to have a condition of some sort, it's best to let them tell you the story of it when they're ready. You can't really force people to talk, even if they quote unquote need it. When they're ready to talk, they'll be ready to talk. So, how long have you been in the school? You both seem to know your way around pretty well. Well, I've been here since the start of high school, but only moved into the dormitories a year ago. What am I saying? Hanako joined at the start of the high school as well, and moved into the dormitories when she did, if memory serves me right. That's right, since high school. So you've known each other since then? Since I moved, yes. Hanako lives next door to me, so it's only natural, right? Right. Yeah, of course. Living next to someone is probably reason enough to befriend them, though I'm guessing Lily's blindness played a part in it as well. I can't imagine Hanako easily making friends with someone who has deliberately avoided looking at her scars. With the immediate conversation dried up, we started to eat our lunch. Stop talking about her scars, damn it. It isn't long before the bells are signaling the end of break. Like me, the girls pack up their lunches as efficiently as I set them out. I guess I'd better be off. Are you gonna go with Hisao, Hanako? Hanako looks up at me, and for a second I could see that she's considering skipping class, maybe just to avoid walking into the classroom with me. Yes. I don't know what to think of it. Hanako really is delicate to the point of breaking it. Looked at it in the wrong way. It makes me a bit nervous too, but I push the feeling aside and try to be as natural as I can. With that face, look at it. Look at that face. It's like, I have to befriend this woman. We should hurry then. Class has already started by the sound of it. Lily gives a nod of farewell as she bends to take her cane. Hanako and I are filing out before her. We walk quickly down the empty halls to our respective classes. As we reach the door to Lily's 3-2 classroom, she turns toward me. Hisao, thank you for sharing lunch with us today. My pleasure, Lily. And with that, we part ways, Lily entering her classroom and leaving Hanako and me to make off to our own. She still looks like she wants to run away. So do you really want to go back to class now? Yes. Okay then. I feel like I should say something more to her, but it's hard to come up with anything that would be appropriate and safe enough. And Lily was right. The more time we spend out here, the more explaining we have to do. I open the rear door to the class and walk in. Oh my god, what voice did I give this man? However, as Hanako follows in and closes the door, he simply nods to us and continues his lecture. This is the third time Hanako had her truancy practically ignored. There's definitely something going on here. We make our way to our seats and I notice Misha and Shizune are both missing as well. I wonder if it's some form of informal agreement with the staff, or if it's a perk afforded to the unique students of the school. Trying to make it as little disturbance as I can, I extract the relevant textbooks from my bag and start catching up. The class goes on quietly. The teacher seems to be an okay person despite the weird first impression I got, and the material is relatively interesting. However, the way he teaches is really bizarre. It's as if he expects that everyone is a natural genius. Yeah, some teachers do teach like that. When the final bell sounds, I realize that there is still a lot of time left in the day, and I'm left wondering what to do. Holy hell, this music is loud. It's odd. At the hospital I had 24 hours a day of free time, but here filling the considerably shorter hours feels difficult. Everyone else leaves, and I'm left alone with the teacher. Muto is examining the assignment sheets while we're working on earlier, marking them with a red ball pen. Raising his eyes from his papers briefly, he notices me and furrows his brow. What is it, Nakai? I forgot what voice I gave him. Jeez, I jump at him addressing me, but I guess it's natural to spark some conversation since there's nobody else around. Nothing. I think about what I do after school. The teacher slowly puts the cap on the pen he is holding and arranges his papers into a stack, clacking it against the desk twice. He seems very methodical for a brief moment. I'm reminded of Shizune, but the teacher is more unhurried and relaxed, much more routine. You have no plans? No, I consider joining a club, but I don't know what kind of club would interest me. Go observe a meeting of someone else's club. Might pique your interest. I guess. But I don't know how to continue from there. Muto looks at me in a way that makes me quickly want to take the words back and to avoid a conversation. But I can't, so I have to forge ahead. I just don't know how to deal with people. I mean, the other students. I'm talking to people and everything, so it's not like that I'd be isolated or anything. I just don't know what to think about the disabilities. It's like, it feels that I'm being impolite if I pay attention to them, and it's weird to ignore them. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Teacher scratches his cheek absent-mindedly, looking very unresponsive. These things are only an issue if you make them one. You can talk normally with someone, even if they are blind or something. Try to look behind the superficial. There's not a single student here who isn't just a normal kid behind whatever they may seem at first glance. This is what I feel. Like, if I was in that school, I'd probably be like, oh, you have scars. Okay. Oh, you're blind. That's nice. Oh, you're deaf? I'll learn sign language, I guess. He says the same thing as Yuko did. I know they're right, but it's hard. How can you not consider, for example, Shizune's deafness, when the only way to communicate with her is to talk them through Misha? Or Hanako, it's not like you can ignore her face. So don't care. Like, I honestly don't care if you're disabled or not. Personally. If someone's disabled around me, I'd be like, oh, need help at all? No? Okay, fine. But, I'm interrupted by the door of a classroom suddenly slamming open. Oh, dear sweet baby Jesus, why? I had expected like something bad to happen, but no, it's Misha. Teacher! Misha crashes in, hand straight and enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively enough to wake the dead from their graves. She starts toward the teacher's desk with her bouncing step, hands energetically swinging with the rhythm. Muto, visibly dismayed at the interruption, and Misha in general, slumps in his chair. Mikado. Misha stops in her tracks and looks around cluelessly as if she's sensing from his tone that something's wrong but has no idea what. Yes? We have talked about the volume control before. Yes! But she doesn't lower her voice at all, and the teacher just rubs his eyes. So, what is it? We need help running up supplies for the festival stands. This is a distress. She waves a pink slip of paper she's holding around. So, go get more supplies from the art room. What's the problem with that? Plywood. Plywood is always the problem. Last time we wanted more, there was only a little. By the time we took it all, that time we just took it all and went with that. Now there's nothing left there, so do you know where there is some? I don't understand. How would I know? Shi-chan, I mean the president thought that a teacher would know if there's plywood. Was she wrong? Muto looks at her in like he's in great pain, frowning with his entire essence, and Misha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is terrible, like looking at a man being tortured by drilling his skull open while blasting pop music at full volume at the same time. Wow, that's quite the hyperbole. I like it. I'm afraid I have no idea if there's any plywood in the school, let alone where it would be if there was any. Aw, what should I do? Perhaps try to find Mr. Nomiya. I'm quite sure he would know where to find everything you need. You'd have to pry them from his cold, dead hands, but that's a different matter. I don't have time, we're so busy. She holds her head with both her hands, looking as despairing as it's possible for a person like her. Without even noticing, she crumples the note she's holding against her hair. I shouldn't even be fetching these things. There's so much to do, and we are falling behind the schedule. Dear sweet baby Jesus. Muto looks at her gravely and then suddenly smiles. Smiling doesn't really fit his face. I think he'd be better if he didn't. I wonder if he could get some temporary help. He switches to staring at me with a hard expression, as if trying to say, go make some friends. Thanks, Teach. I guess I could give you a hand. You can? Thanks, Hichan, you really are nice. She pauses, does a double take, and points at me with her thinking, yelping, ah, and looking very puzzled. Come to think of it, what's Hichan doing here? Class is over, you should be having fun. We just had a little chat. Oh no, it's not detention, is it? Are you in trouble, Hichan? No, I'm not. Is Hichan in trouble, teacher? No, he is not. Muto sighs deeply, and I feel that I have to help Misha get her off the teacher's back. So, what do you need? Here's a list. I can try to find that plywood from somewhere if there's none in the art room. She offers me the note she's holding. I take it, hesitating a bit. I said I'd help you, but that has no implications of whether or not I'm joining the council or not. Aww. Still, thanks, Hichan. Try to be quick, and we are in a stall building streak now. We must hurry, hurry, hurry! She bounces out of the classroom, leaving me and the teacher looking at each other with something that feels like a silent agreement. Well, there you have it, Nakai. You have something to do now. Please don't sound so smug. Looking at the list with a number of items ranging from a paint to plywood, all written with small, neat handwriting that is undoubtedly Shizune's, I heave a sigh. Oops. I'll be going then. Waving the long list limply at the teacher, I exit to the hallway. The classroom closest to ours are designated belonging to class 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side and 3-4 on the left side, each door looking exactly the same. Superfluous information! Further down the corridor, still with identical doors, are rooms that I didn't think were fused for classes. I guess that's the art room is not a classroom as such. Oops. I carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. It's a classroom, but it seems rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs all around the room, a thin layer of dust settled on them. There are some eases in the corner, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flushed in sunlight from the big windows, shadows creeping all over the desks. I'm guessing we're meeting a new person here. I'm so guessing. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. Anybody Something catches my eye, and I stop mid-sentence. Oh, she doesn't have arms at all. Okay, interesting. Sitting on a desk, a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform with a fork between her toes and a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. The odd way of dining seems to be caused by apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me back even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in a corner very still, but I still somehow took her as part of the furnishing or a statue at first glance. I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with huge eyes like a rabbit in headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. Take the fork. Take it deep in your mouth. Okay, I'm gonna stop that now. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly remembering I didn't finish my sentence, trying to think if I should. The weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Say something, someone. Hello. The girl stuffs a forkful in her mouth and is now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello. I was told to pick up some supplies from here for some festival stalls. I didn't think there would be someone here. There isn't. That's why I came here too. She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that mean you're here then? She raised her eyebrows as if she's suspecting my observation was false. You're pretty observant. I guess it does, but who are you? The girl's pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai, Hisai Nakai. Hisao Nakai. Gods, I just transferred it on Monday. I'm Rin. Tezuka Rin. Rin Tezuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are. Well, obviously you're not going to shake hands with me. That's very nice. Her deadpan manner of way of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. Oh, she's deadpan. Now I can change her voice. It kinda bothers me. Joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. You'd be surprised that people with disabilities like this, or in a lot of pain, have very dark humor, so get used to it, boy. Well, I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is... she seems to have lost interest in me and now what? Let me say that sentence again. While I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is... whether she's appropriate or not, what? She seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back. Go right ahead, but lunch? School's already over for the day. What word would you use then? There's no word for a meal you eat after lunch, or before dinner, right? It bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what I should say. I don't think you're supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with. But I'm hungry now, and my delicious boxed lunch would go to waste otherwise. I have curry, it's very delicious. With much decisiveness, Rin once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least as much impoliteness, she points it straight at me. So Nakai, what brings you to this place? Like I said, I was told to look for these things. No, the school. From outside you look fine. Is your problem inside? I come to a full stop, opening my mouth but not getting a word out. I can guess. I'm good at guessing. Better than most people. Ren cuts me off before I can answer her question, or skirted around it somehow. I don't know which I would have gone. I froze in front of the issue again. I haven't told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's only because it hasn't really come up. I do get the feeling that not making issues of this is a part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to Shizune's circumstances, or Lily's either. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition could be, with an overtly contemplative look on her face. She puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the right answer was written up there. She must be really flexible then. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, and less delicious. The problem must be in your pants. Oh, what? Holy hell. And she's smiling at that too. Jeez. Dirty girl, dirty girl. The messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement and her sheer lack of tact, it was delivered with catches me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled back even physically as Rin's eyes widened in revelation and astonishment. So I was right. There's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? What? Jesus Christ! What's with this girl? Still partially in shock but recognizing their need to reply something, I spit out the first thing I can think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem. Arrhythmia. I said it. More like blurted out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Trouble in the pants would have been much more scandalous. Abby, did you call me? Sorry about that, guys. What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down. I forgive you. I collect people, and a person with the kind of problem they would have, and a person with that kind of problem would have been really great. Collect people? What the frack? Collect people with different problems? Huh? So you just go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. With little left to say, Rin resumes her lunch, and conversation dies away. But I keep thinking about what was said. The first time I told anyone else about my condition, all the other people have either known about it already, or heard about it from someone else. Or didn't need to know about it like every other student here so far. Should I have told it as a natural part of introductions? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Hisao. I have a very serious heart condition. Is that supposed to go around and introduce myself from now on? As if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. No, it's just to keep people, like, I wouldn't say it defines them. I just say it keeps people on their toes. Like, saying that, because, like, if your condition isn't, like, on the surface, like, with almost every other person we've met here so far, like he sounds like, oh, I have a heart condition. Like, that's kind of important for everyone who knows you to know. So that, like, if you get struck in the chest, like that one girl did, I forgot her name already because she was only there for like 30 seconds. That's important because had Hanako and Lily known that I had a heart condition and she slammed right into me, I'm pretty sure they would have like reprimanded that girl more than they already did. But hey, whatever. I'm fine now, so that's good. Or maybe this Tezuka girl just has an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Misha's list, a chest opens to study grin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is burnt auburn, almost orange, and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and lack of arms makes her look very thin, almost scrawny. She's not particularly pretty except for her murky green eyes, which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs, even when she eats. The distance and the shadows make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. Well, I would assume so, because the dexterity of your body parts is based on how much you use them, and since she doesn't have any arms to use, her brain power went to her legs. However, I can see how this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable at least. Hang on guys, I have to clear my nose. Sorry about that. I'm back. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I mean, technically it's unnatural, but hey. Keep searching the cabbage and shelf for Misha's things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable. So I try to force some conversation out of this strange girl. So do you always eat alone or this late? Or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors, maybe you're the first occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof, if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh wait, I'm giving her too much of an inflection. Oh, and that's all I can think of to say. Both of us fall silent again as Rin forks the last bits of her meal into her mouth. I look down at my haul to double check it with Misha's list. It seems I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice for you. I don't feel obliged to stay. I was supposed to take a nap anyway. Don't feel obliged to stay, my bad. You need to do whatever you're gonna do with the stuff, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping. I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Rin. I feel like that our relationship is at this point good enough to warrant this much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine, then I'm Hisao. Then you are. Red looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple times, and I can't figure out why a pause like this just popped between us out of nowhere. See you later, Hisao. There's something like a tiny smile on her face, maybe. I quietly back out of the room as I shut the door in front of my face, and I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I heard that... Oh dear, what's Gakufuta? What the hell, where did you come from? What did she hear? I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she had gotten to jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about a global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that thought aside. Oh, Kenji. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof, as if she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No, wait, more importantly, who's in there? There's no club meetings today. She tries to curiously peek past me even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check what's wrong. That's no good, Hee-chan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you are tardy. Oh, sorry, I got the things. I was just gonna go bring them. I think you're up to tongue-tied. I think you're up to some mischief, Hee-chan. Who was in there with you? I wonder. Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple times. Shizune immediately pushes past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she's experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place, apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders, from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Dear sweet baby Jesus. Maybe she didn't blow up, but I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, as if it was somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello. Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you are doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such, disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Shizune Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, points at Rin, and makes some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how's the project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself too. And we'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune's face, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't, not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. It's true though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to unforeseen future. I'm about to ask what project she has and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back to the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure, where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off into the hallway, me and the paint can following since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now, with Shizune and Misha gone, so we too leave towards the stairwell at the other end. And I'm gonna have to cut the video here, that's almost half an hour. So, Rin's certainly an interesting character. I don't know what spawns her odd personality, but I guess she's just either really curious or just really blunt or has literally no shame. Again, this game is turning out to be really, really interesting. The only problem is the fact that, like, I forget some characters' names unless I see them a whole lot. Like that one girl who bumped into me with no legs, I forgot her name. and I forget the voices I give to certain characters, but whatever, I'll get better at this. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, hit the subscribe button, and you are now exiting the Shadyverse. My name's Shades, and I hope you've enjoyed your day in the shade. See you guys later.